Welcome to Crossing Darkness, a podcast about gaming that normally focuses on the world of darkness. Today, however, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite video games, EVE Online, a science fiction spaceship MMORPG. This game is something that allows you to become an immortal pod pilot who can control some of the most powerful starships in all of the galaxy. Activities include market manipulation, spaceship combat, player versus environment, mining, exploration, empire building, pirating, and much, much more. I'm your host, Frozen Fallout, and my co-host is Relic Bloodlore. How's it going, Relic?
It's going good. I am out here in Notorasing it up.
Oh yeah, and speaking of Notoras, we have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Monopoly, who created the Bombers Bar as well as Notorious News, one of the coolest news organizations I have ever seen in EVE Online, or really in the world, to the real life or the virtual. How is space treating you these days, Mr. Monopoly?
Oh, I like space these days. Big time.
Yeah, so how did you get involved in EVE Online? What was your kind of driver to kind of play this game?
I was in a really active PlayStation 3 group of guys. We just hang out on those PlayStation Eye cameras all day and play video games.
Yep.
And E3 came around. I want to say it was 2010 when they announced that Dust 514 was this thing coming someday. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to look up what is EVE Online. And it was just like, I mean, I don't know if you remember those old videos, but it was just like a blue box on a black backdrop and no explanation. Maybe some text running along the bottom. And it was just the most confusing thing. So I just kept watching and I kind of got the idea. Somebody said it was like submarines in space.
Yeah.
And that kind of got me. I used to like those old submarine games. So I started playing EVE Online. And we got into those bombers real quick because they could cloak. And that led us down a wild path of blowing a whole bunch of stuff up.
Yeah, so that was the creation of the Bombers Bar, right?
Right. I want to say there was a patch called, I'm not going to remember the patch name because it was 10 years ago, but they made it where bombers didn't decloak each other if they bumped into each other cloaked. Back in the day, if two bombers bumped into each other, if two guys warped to 0 on the same bookmark, well, you just decloak each other and the jig was up. You just lost two bombers.
Yep.
But they changed that. And it seemed like for 2 months we were the only guys that knew it. It was like a big secret. And people would argue with us. We'd have a new guy in fleet and we'd have to argue with him for 10 minutes. Just, okay, let's warp over here, you warp to me, and I'll prove it to you. It doesn't decloak you anymore. And it became this comedy every night of teaching a new guy that you didn't decloak each other and you could throw bombs, and it was a real good time. And then Dust hit. And I already knew how to play EVE Online. Nobody else did at all. And the crew that I was running with from the PlayStation network was like 1,000 guys.
Oh, really? Wow. You guys had a really
and
big
so
team.
Like Dust hit and then 15 guys started EVE Online accounts. And I had these guys that were not afraid of anything. They wanted to kill stuff. And they didn't care if it was low sec or whatever. They never heard of EVE Online. They're killers. And so we put them in Condors and we went out there and we got kills. And then we put them in Molluses. And we went out there and just shut people down. And those were like the glory days for me. Like Dust 514 drops, and then going back to Black Rise and Tama to fight actually the same guys, Quake 590. I was trying to fight that guy back then.
So did you guys participate in faction warfare then in order to do the bombing on the planets?
We didn't. All our stuff was in Molten Heath. We wound up taking, I want to say 98% of all the planets that were available to take.
For the player-owned custom offices?
Yes.
Nice.
And I had big plans. I had 5 alts trained up, ready for those planetary interaction bonuses to go live. Oh my! I was so excited, and then that never happened. And so, like, I owned all these planets everywhere, and I had all these alts, and I never got any payout for it. And I never got any bonuses. Like, I had this big kingpin idea, and CCP was like, "Yeah, we actually had a problem with that, and it's not going to happen." I get it. It was tough, but I had a big plan.
Yeah, that's such a bummer.
They could all fly those little blockade runners. Oh man, I had so many characters ready to sneak into low sec and make bank.
Yeah. CCP changes up plans sometimes. And speaking of huge, changes on everything, I mean, they just kiboshed all of, Dusk 514, and that was such a brilliant idea. And if it wasn't tied to, I believe if it wasn't tied to the PS4 exclusively, that it would have been insanely awesome. Or no, it was PS3, right? Exclusive?
PS3, yeah.
So it didn't even get to the PS4.
And keep in mind that, I mean, it wasn't like they didn't have any experience with using their IP in another fashion up till that point. To my knowledge, they didn't have like another game with the EVE Online name on it up to that point. So they were probably in some pretty uncharted business waters, and guys with briefcases can really change minds.
That's true. Yeah. There's a lot that goes into a game production. My production is basically, I do whatever the fuck I want because it's me, but they have people to deal with, that they have to answer to and everything. I thought it was going to be a whole new era of gaming where people were going to be like, okay, you play some kind of, MMORPG and I play a first person shooter. What you and I do interacts with each other, and they mean things to each other, and we can have, an interaction between video games that are nowhere near like each other in the sense that one's a first-person shooter, another is this running around in flying around in a spaceship. I thought it was going to be brilliant, and it was to a certain degree, and then everything else has kind of started to fall short. I believe one of the problems that they ran into was that it wasn't a really great first-person shooter.
True. I think their big folly was not introducing E-War. Had they introduced a first-person shooter that had webs and jammers and damps and target disruptors, that would have been a different kind of experience. Like if you put a targeting disruptor on a guy and then his firing cone turns into 180 degrees, like that would be a really funny form of first person shooter to me, but they didn't ask me, obviously. Yeah. Now it's interesting because it was also an era where there was a lot of talk about cross connectivity between games, right? You remember The Division? You were going to be able to play that on your tablet along with your friends on the Xbox or on the PlayStation. It was an era where there was some implication that kind of stuff was coming. Mm-hmm. And you walk around in your station in EVE, it stood to reason I was going to be able to just walk through a door and hang out with my Eats Baby Cienfuegos character and my Low Genius character in the same room, with my fancy shoes or whatever. I don't know. I just thought that was coming. I was sure. I invested heavily in ladies' pants and ladies' shoes because I thought that those were going to be really hot items. I mean, I thought I was going to get rich, and I still have a lot of ladies' pants and ladies' shoes right now. I'm waiting. I'm not
Your time will come.
It's coming. I gotta wait. Yeah. Don't sell low now.
Well, yeah, I think CCP though just kind of. I think they went from being what they were when they started this game to so much stuff happened so quickly, and men with briefcases and decisions were made, and because like, all right, so like me and Froze were super stoked because in 2006 they bought White Wolf stuff.
That's a
and
cool
they were going to
idea,
make this
right?
World of Darkness game,
Yeah.
right? This World of Darkness
Brilliant,
MMORPG.
brilliant idea.
And isn't that the company you'd want to make it?
Yeah. Oh man,
Right,
when I heard that EVE
right.
Online was doing it, or CCP was doing it, I was like, an EVE Online World of Darkness is kind of like probably going to be similar to like Ultima Online, you know, death, permadeath. They were talking about concepts of like if you wanted to take higher offices, you could have permadeath on your character, but you know, and these just weird ideas that you never really heard about, and then nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we talked to him at Gen Con. Like we were like, what was that place? We were in some sort of crazy club with girls dancing in cages and they were thrumming industrial music. And I believe we were drinking heavily because it was free and we got invited.
White Wolf
And
threw some epic parties, and then
parties,
when CCP
yeah.
got involved, they threw some epic parties as well. It was really cool.
Yeah, like just for a little walk down memory lane. When they announced Dust 514 at E3, a guy got up on stage and said, "Fuck yeah, spaceships!" And the whole crowd chanted, "Fuck yeah, spaceships!" And I was like, "These are my people. Like, I
Right.
totally get this. This is what I need to get into." And I hadn't even seen the game.
That's awesome. Yeah,
It was a very adult CCP in 2010, I think.
Yeah.
They were not trying to cater to a family-friendly thing.
yeah, no, and that was kind of White Wolf's whole thing too. Was they were on the edge, you know. They did the vampires and there was the sexy,
Yeah.
role playing game. Like it was like you
Right.
had like
Yeah.
the D&D nerds over here, and then you had all these chicks and guys playing these LARPers. They were all weird too, but but there was a bunch of women over there because they loved the social aspect.
In the White Wolf games were the role-playing games where you were the monster. You ate the... And White Wolf games are some of the only tabletop games I've played where PKing is on the table. Like you outside of the game might agree, wink wink, nudge nudge, we're not going to do that. But when you play a World of Darkness game, that's like just like in Eve, like that's an aspect of it. Like, oh yeah, like if something happens, I might have to kill a member of my... And not like they're mind control or something naughty. It's because I want to be...
Backstabbing is a real thing.
Yeah, like...
And that was what Eve is, is all about,
Right.
So I thought that those two worlds would combine so well.
It made perfect sense.
It was crazy. So you ended up doing Bomber's Bar. You created this kind of go out there, blow up people, use get involved with that Dust 514. But then Dust 514 fell out. Is that about the time that you kind of were taking a break from Eve then, or?
They announced the end of Dust 514 at FanFest. I mean, a Dust 514 guy went to FanFest, and he asked a direct question to CCP Praetorian. He said, "Are there going to be Dust 514 updates anymore?" And Praetorian said, "Yeah, we'll see. In the next 3 or 4 years, if 300,000 more people buy the game, we'll update it." And we had a total population of about 10,000 dudes playing this game, or maybe it was double that, but it was not the biggest shooter in the world. And I got real butthurt. I mean, I so far into my butt that my feelings were hurt, and I thought I was done. And I didn't biomass my character, but I thought I was done.
Yeah,
But then you go play another game,
right.
and you try to like it, and they keep it up for like 10 months, and you're looking for another game again, and you find one you like, and they keep it up for 18 months, and then the population drops to 0, and you're looking for another game again. And I don't know, I'd rather have a long-term project than I can play a game of chess right now if I want. I was looking for something longer term to come back to, and Eve seems right.
Yeah, Eve scratches that long-term itch for me like no other game ever will, unless something, and it's also because I've invested like 15 plus years into this game.
Wow. Yeah.
And I've been, I've taken my breaks. I've jumped in and out of this game. I've, built up a corporation, gave it away to somebody, like gone off to some 0.0, fought in the wars, decided that I didn't want to do that anymore, came back, hang out in Losec, and there's always some crazy shit to do in Eve. In 15 years, I've done all the crazy shit that I kind of want to do. And I've found myself in a really good spot now where I just want to fuck around and do stuff that's kind of fun in Eve. Doesn't have to make me a lot of ISK per se. It might cost me a whole bunch of ISK, like throwing up stations in Losec. But it's kind of fun just to have those kind of things, to go out, shoot people, try to get on the Notorious news is now like my #1 objective.
Nice.
When I play Eve Online. Can I get on the news today?
Yeah, when I came back, I said I'm just not getting sweaty about this game again. I mean, I was really just too deep into it. And when I came back, I had to make some rules about what I was going to not do to keep me from getting so ate up with it. It can just be a real obligation that you plan your whole life around if you're not careful.
Yes.
And that was what I tried to avoid when I came back. And I think I'm happier this time through it.
Yep, that's kind of what I'm kind of going for now, is small commitments, like make sure that there's enough fuel inside of the structure so that it doesn't get, into low structure. Make sure you're jumping on every once in a while and saying hi and talking to people. The one thing that it really baffles me to a certain degree. I mean, and of course it doesn't, but to a certain degree as well. But Eve is a super social game, and so one of the reasons why I heard that White Wolf did so well in LARPing communities and stuff, and bringing in women, was because it was a very social game. Almost everybody that I talked to in EVE Online, it's like, what keeps you into EVE Online? Oh, the social aspects, the people that I've met, the friends I've made, the connections I've made with people.
Cool.
But EVE Online has like a 5% female base, I believe. It's really sad. And I feel like it's one of those things that I don't know, there seems to be some kind of gap that needs to be. There's such a huge community of good people in EVE Online, and I feel like that's something that needs to be pushed out there more and more. And I see it pretty good on Reddit. I see it on some things, and there's a balance of, there's people that are gonna blow you up just to blow you up. That's the only, just for a kill mail. And if you cry or whine, they're gonna eat those tears up.
Better.
Yeah, it's even better. But if
I used to be that guy.
I have also made German children cry.
Yeah.
But if you're like, hey, what happened? Can I join your corp? Can I learn what you did? Some of the best killers that I have had in the game have been people that I just unsuspectingly blew them up, and they were like, what just happened and why? And teach me how to do that. And then all of a sudden they became like 10 times better at this game than I will ever be, because they're like bloodthirsty.
And I think there's two curves to this game to a new player that I feel unfortunate about, because if they just talked more, they wouldn't have the problems. And like, one is the learning curve of the game, and the other is the true loss curve, where like bad things happen to you, but just don't let it get you down. Like, if you talk back to the person either way, like, I feel it always turns out better. Like, we are interacting with people in the area of Losec we live in now simply because they threatened us, and we just like talked back with them. Like, they were like, what are you doing? It's like, this. Like, we put up a structure and it got blown up immediately. And it's like, what are you going to do? It's like, I don't know. No idea. Like, we just wanted to see what would happen.
We just want to make, well, I mean, we did know what we wanted to do. We wanted to make drugs.
We did want to cook. I had never, as an industrial player, I have never made drugs. And I feel like, as an industrial player, I had to break bad. Like, I just had to. The thing like,
that is one part of the game that's really hard to explain to people. That if you just talk to people, you really will have a better experience. Even when we went out in bombers into nullsec, me and my buddy Johnny Freedom. Before we could put the covert ops cloaks on, we had the regular cloaks on just to see what was going on out there. You know what I mean? We heard it was real dangerous. And we're sitting out there, nothing's happening. And we're like arguing with each other about how we're in the wrong place or something. We're in MTAC-O. And so it's hard to explain to people how you really just have to go explore it and talk to people and you'll learn a bunch. But if you go out there scared and you clam up like somebody's going to steal everything you've ever owned, then yeah, you're not going to, even when you die, it's not going to be enjoyable. When we had the bar, we'd bomb a guy and then we'd invite him to fleet. And maybe give him a bomber if we had one available. Because if you bomb a guy, he wants to know how you killed him, and he wants to do that because it's fun. Mm-hmm. And that's how we built that whole NPSI group, is killing people. It was 3 PS3 guys and 3 EVE Online guys in the beginning. And then we'd kill a guy and we'd send him a fleet invite. And he'd be like, I can't afford a bomber. And I'd be like, well, I got one in the blockade runner. I'll just give it to you, and then you can help us kill things. Because if we get 5 of these, we can kill a Drake, okay? 5 guys kills a Drake. Let's kill a Drake, man. There were Drakes everywhere, you know?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and people wanted to kill a Drake.
And that's another thing, too, I think, is I see so many people in high sec who are in, like, little tiny groups, and they don't really do anything. And it's like, you guys realize this is not like other MMORPGs. It entirely scales with people. Like, the more people you have to do anything in this game, you can just do so much more. Like, talk to each other, do some stuff.
It's always surprising to me that there are not, 10 new guys in Molluses shutting people down, or 10 new guys in Crucifiers shutting somebody down out there. Because there are so many ships in the game where if you put 6 or 7 of them together, they turn real dangerous.
Right.
And you just don't really see it come up. And you'd think that'd be the first thing a little group would do. Let's find a frigate that turns people off and go out there and kill people kind of safely. That way we don't have to brawl. We could just turn a guy off. He can target out to 2K. What's he gonna do?
Yep.
Yeah,
the recon ships. If you get 4 people together in 4 recon ships, all of the different races, you can do the combat one or the more recon-y one. Either way, if you set them up with the E-War that they have, every target that you go up against, as long as there's you jumping, and which you can do with those ships, is make sure you know what the hell you're engaging. You're win. Like, they can't lock, they can't target, they can't target at range. They were getting damped and jammed out. They're getting nosed and nuded and warp disrupted. It's no good.
And those little E-War frigates have a unbelievable targeting range compared to any other frigate, and it's a little bit higher than most of the cruisers. So they can always get their E-War applied because they can start way out there. They're just nice little ships.
Yeah, no, that's true. I didn't even think about the frigates are the really good ones for that as well, because they're cheap as fuck, and
oh yeah,
you can just go dominate.
Right. Like, I mean, 3 RSDs, 3 remote sensor dampeners on a ship that can target out to 60. Like that guy has 15k. You can orbit at 20 all day. What's he gonna do?
I've had that happen with just the Maulus going up against my Atron, and he just pulled range to the point where like he was all designed to be super fast, no tank, and be as fast as possible. And yep, he still had the scram in the web. But, you know, it was like he would play at that 10 kilometers and he'd just damp me down to the point where I could only lock at 5. And I'm like, fuck, I can't do anything here. Like, this sucks. Like, I'm just, like, watching him slowly kill me.
We used to run 2 Molluses, 1 long point, 1 scram. So after the long point gets in, even if it's a fast guy, even if it's something you really actually kind of have to worry about, with 4 damps and a scram, you don't have to worry about anything fast. There's nothing fast in the game that can target you.
Yeah. No, that's legit.
And when I came back, I had to learn about all these new ships. And those tacticals, are those the ones with 3 settings? The tactical destroyers? Yes. And they're like anti-Maulus ships. What a cool idea. They introduced a whole ship because the Maulus is nasty.
Yeah, no, I love the counterplay in EVE Online. There's so much different counterplay because, like, so I play around in plexes a lot. Like, I love the plexing mechanic of faction warfare, regardless of whether I'm in faction warfare or not. I really loved it now that they made me go suspect every time that if I'm not in faction warfare, I go suspect now when going into one of the plexes.
That is a little better, right?
It was way better. It's just I mean, one thing is that it doesn't make all the faction warfare people have to go pirate if that's not their thing, you know.
Right? Yeah, they don't. Some of them don't like that stuff.
Right, they want to be the pirate hunters, you know, let them be the
and it's guys. Their space. Like, we're invading. Right. So they should have every right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's equal footing. It's like this fight will start when whoever pulls the trigger, because I'm flagged too. Like,
and because of those plexes, let's just say that sliding with people with something like a rapier is nasty. Autocannon rapier. Can you just slide in?
Yeah, I will admit, since I've came back, the recons not being on scan is like one of the hugest buffs I've seen in this game. That, like, it doesn't seem like a huge buff, but it's fucking insane.
You're invisible in low sec. You can run belts all day if that's what you want to do. Nobody can scan you down. You're invisible.
What I want to do is I want to get like 4 of the combat cruisers sitting in mediums and just wait for whatever just comes in. It just, you know, maybe you'll have like you want a frigate as well that just fast locks every single thing. But it just all of a sudden, you know, it's like the bait frigate that, you know, everybody knows they're able to kill it, but because you have all this crazy combat recon E-war on you, it's like even that little guy is going to be able to survive no matter what.
Yeah,
but you do the unusual bait, you know, you do the like an Atron as your bait, or even like a Kestrel or something like that. Like, everybody wants to go after a Kestrel. So
I know that's right. A coercer right now.
I got to start doing more small ship PvP, and I want to bring the Tormentor back. I feel the Tormentor doesn't get enough love these days.
I agree with that. The Tormentor's a good ship. It's not quite fast enough, but it's got the couple drones to really balance things out. It's nice.
So I think the biggest thing with it is the fact that it could be 2 different things, and depending on which one, you could be wrong in the worst possible way.
Right.
Because it's like, you're either going to be a scram kiter or a brawler. And if I'm the thing that defeats that and I'm wrong, I think I'm gonna have a bad time. Like,
yeah, speaking of solo PvP and like PvP and low sec, so you started up Notorious News. That was what, like 2019 that you started up Notorious News, is that correct?
It was February 2020.
February 2020. Wow.
Yeah. There was a CCP Germany, CCP Berlin thing, like a player meetup, and somebody did a big thing on the Bombers Bar and how it's grown over the years and how it's been going, and it's going to celebrate its 10-year anniversary. And I was like real flattered, you know, because I didn't know that it was still going. That was really cool to me. And so we logged back in for their anniversary fleet. And man, it kind of got its fangs into me pretty quick, being honest. I had a bunch of money too. Like, I mean, I was real heavy into PvP, swiping my card back in the day. So I had legitimate assets sitting here, like, I want to say 4 billion ISK worth of medium multi-spectrum M crystals for some reason. I don't know where we got them. We probably took them out of somebody's hauler. I don't know. So coming back was like real intimidating because so much changes, but it was fun to go through all the stuff, like a scrapbook, like old fits, and you just find stuff in your stations that are bring back memories, you know.
Absolutely.
There weren't any kill marks back then. About the kill marks, I was like, man, back in the day I would have tried to have the most kill marks.
Yeah, no, and doing a bomber setup like that, you can get a lot of kill marks.
Right, just easy. So I came back and I was going to do a solo PvP thing. And I did like 3 episodes, and I posted like a silly little video about the Notorious news. And when I posted the first one, I was gonna like be this monotone guy that slowly unravels and loses his mind because he's in the boringest place known to man. Like, that was gonna be the whole concept. Like, I was just gonna post one every few weeks about this guy really beating his head against the wall, you know. And I was like, well, maybe that's not fun, you know. Maybe that's not the most fun thing to post. And people kind of responded to it, so I just kept making the news. And then I was kind of using it to learn video editing. I don't know if you guys have ever messed with video editing, but it's a real bear.
It's a little bit.
It intimidates me.
It intimidates me too. I want to get into it more now that I'm doing, you know, this show, this podcast, along with streaming Eve, and I got a YouTube channel and stuff now. So I'm trying to like get into that. I'm super fucking impressed by what you do. I don't have the patience. I mean, how long does it? So you make usually about 5-minute videos, give or take 3
or 5 minutes, yeah.
And how long would you say it takes you to create from finish to end? How many hours do you think you put into a video?
If we're just talking about from when I wake up that morning to when I'm going to post the video, I'm getting a lot faster. I mean, for a long time, you're spending 12 or 14 hours a day just beating your head against the wall. And now, like 6, if I don't go for some silly, wacky idea and try to put 20 people on the screen, then I think in 6 hours, as long as I don't have to record a guitar part 2, as long as I use one of the 100 guitar tracks that I've got 100 guitar tracks now.
Oh, you record all those?
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, it's hard for me to get any perspective on it. So my previous series, I kept getting copyright strikes for copyright-free music, for music that was in the public domain. I'd put a public domain song in one of my videos. I'd get hit by some BS company in New York. And that kind of stuff really irked me. So when I started the Eve thing, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try to play every track. What difference does it make? I'm just trying to get rid of the noise on the underneath. It doesn't have to be, nobody's going to even listen to it. And so I started,
like one of the best parts.
I started doing the music every day, so I didn't have to clean up the audio just so much. Until Novacat sent me this beautiful mic, I was recording this on my phone every day, you know? So I was doing a lot of audio cleanup and stuff like that. But man, it's really turned into, I think I can get one done in 6 hours if I don't have to record the guitar, and I've I don't have to rewrite it because I'm too cynical. I spend a lot of time rewriting stuff because I'm way too cynical. And I have to dial it back until it's closer to the fanboy spectrum than the negative creep spectrum.
Yeah, I know the one thing that I kind of went with, when I started doing a lot of this podcasting, like I picked it back up. I was doing editing and stuff like that, and it was spending hours and hours editing. I was like, fuck it, I'm doing it live. I'm done. Fuck it. It's over.
Right?
No more fucking editing. Done.
And we just lost, like, Chief Vinegar Douche. He's not doing it anymore because the video editing's just killing him from the mother cluckers, the chief of police. And I hate to see a YouTuber stop doing it because the video editing sucks. But the video editor is just, it's an unforgiving tool, and there's not a good video you can watch that says don't try to do this. Don't try to get clever. Don't try to use this for this situation. Don't try to use this for this situation. If you try to do a composite shot and then you try to overlay something, your whole thing's going to crash and you're going to be doing it again. Have a good day. It's, you just lose a whole day's work, and you think about really dark things. And it's, oof. But I really feel like when I started doing it every day, I had really felt like I could avoid the mistakes that would be so frustrating. Mm-hmm. And that was when I really started to put them out every single day. I just learned how to avoid the mistakes.
Yeah, I'm really impressed that you do. So it's like 6 hours a day that you spend on video editing, basically.
I'm going to be real generous and say I could probably get one done in 6 hours.
That's if it was tight.
That's crazy, man. That's awesome. I mean, of course, you're learning huge skill set here. That's
kind of the point, right? And it's like a journal for me. I'm learning this new way to play guitar. I played guitar one way for 20 years. And then I realized that I was going to live past 40. And I was like, oh, well, old guys don't play guitar like that. Old guys play guitar like these other guys. And so I started going to these real old guys and learning how they play guitar, because they must do that for a real good reason. They're the old guys doing it. And so transitioning to that kind of guitar, the recording the guitar track every day has, first of all, it made me record something, which is its own kind of auditing process to make sure you're not just being lazy or stupid or whatever.
Yeah.
But also it kind of chronicles the songs that I've learned over the amount of time and what I've improved on. If I go back and listen to the early ones, it's pretty rough on me. It's pretty hard to listen to.
So I have a quick question. How much of everything in that video is all you? Is all the video you capture from music?
Yes. I don't.
Everything is. This is
and
all
I try not to reuse very much. I have reused video before, but I try to make every day a unique.
And
video.
You can call in. There are parts that are not him.
There's a voice line,
which is you can call in. I want to call in. I have to get my character all set. I feel
it's
like
tricky, right?
I feel like it's very important for me if when I call your line, I want it to be like, okay, this is, and I'm so excited that I get to talk to you. Like, seriously, dude, I'm super excited to have you on my podcast. Like, this is,
well, thanks.
This is huge because it's just awesome to see what you do. I love that you have that call-in line. Like your ideas, the concepts, and then to learn that you started Bomber's Bar, which I've heard of Bomber's Bar a lot in my EVE career. And
I've been in Bomber's Bar to ask dumb questions because I was told by another stealth bomber pilot to go to Bomber Bar and ask the question and stop bothering.
Man, the bar was so good. Like, the bar was the three of us in a PlayStation Network chat with videos pointed at the three of us. So we're all just having a normal conversation. And then we got TeamSpeak on our computers. And so, we're hitting push to talk to the guys in EVE Online. And we're talking to our boys on the PS3 just like we normally do, just like every single night, as we have forever. And I'd already been playing with these guys for 6 years. So the whole getting backstabbed or somebody stealing your corporation or all that stuff, that was non-issue. I knew where these guys lived. I knew where their moms lived,
I always say, if I can throw a brick through your window, I can trust you.
I can trust you. That's no problem in EVE Online. So that's why the NPSI concept started, because a chat room where you just talk to people doesn't have all the we got so tired of the spy talk. And at the beginning, a large percentage of the EVE Online population was angry about a monocle, a piece of garment. And we were like, man, these guys must be really soft if they're this upset about a monocle. And so we came in with a very different mindset. Just kill stuff. It's a video game. And people said, you gotta wait a year in high sec and work on your skills. And we were like, man, it's a video game though. I'm sure that I can figure out a way to get in a fight when I'm new, because it's a video game. They're like, no, man, they'll eat you up out there. And this is what they tell people. Don't go out there and get in a fight because you'll die. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I played Mortal Kombat a lot. I died a lot of times. I don't regret any of them. I'm not gonna.
I love the now that I've gotten into faction warfare, literally I feel like I can drop, and I've done this before, drop a day old alt right into, no skills whatsoever, jump into faction warfare, and I'll go get a kill. It's fucking weird. I don't know how or why I'm allowed to kill something, but I get it. I'll die a lot, but I'll get
When the
kill.
Dust 514 guys would come over, we had this real specific skill queue that they'd set up. And on I want to say the 15th day of their skill queue, we'd take them out and they'd get a solo kill with a condor. And it was just mind-blowing for them how they got a kill, man. They were 15 days old.
I wish more people would do that. I wish more people would just jump out and go out to low sec and just fucking die. And just come with me and die. I do it all the time just to go die, just to kill some content for some people. And then maybe I get a kill. And I'm just so happy when I get a kill. I've gotten better at not dying over the years. And eventually I learned how to not, trying not to die. I'm going to try a fit right now. Just started one, and I'm going to be like, okay, this is my ship. I want to get as many kill marks as I possibly can. I'm going to be smart with it. I'm not going to get it blown up. But 99% of my ships are like, okay, you are used to go content for somebody else. Just go have fun.
Nice. I've been working on a Celestis fit. Solo Celestis. Nobody flies one. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's... Sorry.
We want to hear about the Celestis fit now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a really interesting ship that nobody shows any respect to. So it's bait on its own. But what you worry about getting caught with when you're out in low sec is a little fast thing, a garmer. Somebody's going to put a garmer on you and just hold you until you're dead. With a Celestis, you put 3 RSDs on him. That garmer can target out to maybe 16.
Mm-hmm.
And you just throw some drones on him that are doing 8,000 K a second, and he's gonna change his mind or he's gonna die.
Yep.
It's a real consensual PvP kind of situation.
Yep. You're gonna brawl me, or
you come brawl.
Yep.
Or I'm gonna kill you.
I love
because you're not locking me.
I love that about damps. I love the concept that it's you gotta
so
come
reliable.
brawl with me. And range control, it really pisses me off when I have a frigate doing it to me and I can't catch it. It's like, we can't brawl. You want me to brawl with you, and I can't brawl with you. No. You're just gonna shoot me from far away. Fuck you. Okay, but you got me. Eve hurts so much when you die, but it feels so good when you kill somebody. It's the only game that I really like every time, no matter what. It has nothing to do with me losing like shit anymore. It just is like, can I kill something? Like as soon as I see something outside of my plex, my heart just starts pounding, like a million miles an hour. I'm in an Atra, and my fucking heart is pounding.
I just obviously really like the community building aspect of the game. You know, like the Bombers Bar was a lot of fun when we were taking guys out and showing them how to fly every night and then starting the fleet. And then when it got to the point where it was like, well, everybody just mutes themselves out and you listen, that became not as much of a fun fleet. So we got into the Condors for the Dust 514 guys and tried to build a community there. And with the Notorious news, it's more of there's never been any obligation to these little communities, but the Notorious news is so unbelievably voluntary. Mm-hmm. I mean, people just... I'm always very flattered when somebody moves to Notorious, because in the beginning there were 3 of us. I mean, I lived there, and Vero Knoll lived there, and Hayton, you too, lived there. That was it. Like, that was the whole crew. That was the whole neighborhood. and that was, that's when it became the best system in New Eden.
No, I love what you're doing with the Notorious Cantina, hanging out at the bar. I always invite some, I've got some buddies that I just like met up in, and I was like, oh, come over to the Cantina. This is where the cool kids hang out, man. Like, this is...
I thought that the bookmarks would be a really approachable thing for people, that they could get the bookmarks and then they'd be relatively safe in low sec. You can move around once you have those bookmarks.
Yeah, no, I love your bookmarks.
I'm not sure I've been able to express that idea, or I don't know how many new people have been able to say, okay, I'm a little bit safer now because of these bookmarks. I think it's generally the predators that are using them, and I know why, because I use them too. so I put them out with the best of intentions, and I think they've been used for all the wrong reasons. And I'm going to keep adding them all over Black Rise. There's going to be little sets of those bookmarks on every star or something.
Those are cool, though. I like those bookmarks a lot. Because there's so many of them, you don't have it like this is the one spot that you have for this gate, so that when the Predator wants to blow you up, here it is. Like, you've got different spots over here and there.
So, and even if they see where you warp, they can't guess out of 12 locations which one you warp to.
Yeah, that makes... I think that's what makes it a lot.
Bookmarks, they can have a really fun fight, because you can really move around and try to get your distance.
But yeah, no, I definitely... I feel like the new player friendliness of the Notorious News and Notorious channel is a huge thing. I'm always about trying to get new people into Eve. There's the whole like mantra of like, Eve sucks, it's gonna die, don't play it. It's like the mantra of like so many players, and
player counts have been steady for like 6 years or something.
Right, but still, but that's actually an achievement in and of its own. It's steady.
Oh my gosh, it's like, unbelievable. What other game have I played in the last 20 years that still has a steady player base?
Right. I mean, even World of Warcraft is up and down. I mean, yeah, it's never gets down to what we're at, but like, there's huge peaks and stuff like that. But it's the one world, one concept, one universe for us all to play around in. The less people that are playing this game, the more options that I have to open up to me to a certain degree to make me want to get other people into this game. And as much as it feels like there's no new players. There's new players all the time. It's kind of crazy. I run into people all the time that are like, oh, I started 3 years ago, I started a year ago, I started a month ago.
Absolutely.
And I really love this game. And I'm like, wow, like that's us old timers jump in and out. Like I actually I have a buddy now, the first time that actually it's like 3 buddies now that I've had that have permanently quit Eve.
Okay.
Although I still have one guy, or one of those three that I'm like, you should jump back into Eve. But it's usually like people just jump in and out of Eve. You know, you come in for a little while, you hang out, you check out what's going on, you try and do something, and it either fails or succeeds, or, you know, and then you're happy with what you're doing, and either you quit or you come back, or, you know, it's usually all about the community. The stronger the community, truthfully, the better off it is, which is why I do appreciate some of the groups out there, like Goon Swarm. I live in Madison, Wisconsin. Goons have a lot of parties here, so I've hung out with a lot of goons actually in my lifetime. I joined up with them. I found that I prefer to be friends with goons, that they're cool people to hang out with, but I want to have like the openness of doing whatever the hell I don't want to have to deal with spies like you were talking about before. I don't like the whole like freak out about spy mentality type stuff.
It's just not worth the time you put into it. Yeah.
I want to stream. I want to
Right.
I want to talk about. I want somebody to say, "Oh, he's got a station. Let's go blow it up." Then, and it's like, okay, well, come and do it. I guess, you know, if you have the power to do it, there's reasons why I have hung out with Koreans a whole bunch. So.
Right. They're in my time zone. I play from like an hour before the servers go down. And
I love the Koreans.
Yeah, I mean, they're always down for a fight. They're real nice guys.
And that's
never
why
had
I
a bad
met you.
experience.
Because I work third shift, and that's about like I catch you at the end
Oh,
of your
okay,
day
great.
when I
Yeah.
come home. Yeah, that's like you handed me a paper one day, and I was like, "What is this?" And I watched it, and I'm like,
Nice.
"This is amazing."
When I started
you are a busy man. Like I haul, so I see you all over the place.
yeah. I just, you get kind of tired of Reddit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I decided I was going to take it old school. It's a newspaper. I'm going on a paper route. And I started just jumping all over Hell's Creation, dropping that link. And I get a lot better response that way. But it's a lot of hours jumping around New Eden, man. It's, my goodness, I might do 200 jumps today. Just
do you get any hate when you're doing that? Like, do you?
Very little hate. I get a lot of people send me a private chat and they say, what do they say? They say, "Is this a Rickroll?" And I say, no, this is not a Rickroll. I'm a journalist. I take myself very seriously. I would never Rickroll you. And I did play Never Gonna Give You Up in the video one time, the day after somebody asked me that. But only on the guitar, and there's no way he could have noticed that I did that.
Well, if he did, then he could have had a warm fuzzy. He's like, oh,
right? Yeah, personal experience.
I didn't get rickrolled by this asshole. Damn it.
The other non-positive, or maybe it's not, I don't know how to take it. The other response I get is, why don't you do your thing about where I live? Because where I live is better, and you'd get more subscribers and you'd get more views, you know. Mm-hmm. And they try to butter me up that way. Mm-hmm. And, you know, first thing, when they send me that, you know, they're acting kind of big. Mm-hmm. You know, they didn't even put anything in the bank account yet. So I'm already like real hesitant and a little bit cynical, because usually if somebody has like a suggestion and they really like the thing, they pull me into a private chat. They do throw me some money. I make tips for delivering newspapers, which has become hilarious to me. I make more tips delivering newspapers than money I make selling typhoons. And so like,
yeah, it's a little bit.
You.
I love what you do. I want you to do
it's just
more.
It's hilarious, and I try to use that to like help out new guys or do whatever I can. You know, the industrialists, they need the money, so I put up outrageous buy orders for Hedbergite or something, and some guy comes in and makes $5 million a trip for bringing me some Hedbergite. Maybe that makes a good day for him or something. It's usually alpha accounts; they're never coming back.
Well, it's funny because like I bumped into somebody who came out there to sell ore, and they were shocked that I was out there too.
Nice.
Like, oh, you selling it too? And I'm like, no, I build stuff out here. And they're like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to build a ball garden for an alliance.
Yeah, awesome. That's
I need
fun.
a shit ton of this. Like they're just like, what? It's like they didn't realize that was something that was happening right there. Like,
and there was always this idea that nobody was mining in low sec, that was a non-existent thing, that was a myth, like a unicorn, a person mining in low sec before all the balance stuff.
Mhm.
And I always thought that was a kind of weird thing, as if nobody can grow a pair and go mine in low sec, or as if Snuffed Out doesn't have to mine out their back door. You know what I mean? It's a part of the game.
well, it's weird because like we got kind of kicked out of our area of space that we lived for the longest time because of groups that utilize it for purpose.
Right. It's a measure of wealth. How much tritanium, how many station containers full of tritanium you have stacked, because that stuff's going up, man. That's your base. That's your bottom dollar.
Right. And as someone who builds it, like you always need trit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like
Every fucking
you're never
thing.
gonna
All the
not
time.
need a ton of trit.
And since everybody is always going to need Noxium, I've been loving the way low sec's going, because
Yes.
Noxium went from like 300 when I started buying to 1,200, and
No, you can
I don't know
come on
where
your
it's at
adventure
now.
and make some fat cash with almost no investment and no skills.
Right.
And it's like one of the best kept secrets of this game.
Yeah.
You just have to try. Like, I guess some people don't want to be the rabbit, and I don't mind being.
Yeah, I've just never had a problem going out there and losing some ships. I'll do it.
So speaking of money, do you have a Patreon?
I do. I don't know that anyone's ever visited it.
I will visit your Patreon. I will pay you because you I literally if I find a project out there that I know, especially if it's like nobody else is really backing this shit and it needs backing, like I'm gonna be there for you, man. Like,
Well, I really appreciate that.
I have dedicated a certain amount of money of my life to go towards my business quote unquote needs, and
Right.
those are to support the things that I love, like Lords of the Trident. Huge shout out for them. I don't know why I'm giving them a shout out right now, but that's another group that here's all my money. Not all of my money. Here's a very, very small amount of my money.
I think I put like a 2-frame segment Tyler Durden style with my Patreon account at the end of a video one time. You know, that's just the kind of nerdy thing I do. I figure if anybody really wanted sport, they'd just type Notorious News into Patreon and it'd come up, right?
All right, well there you go. That's now I know how to find you, because that was
easy breezy.
going to be my question, was how do I find you on Patreon?
Oh yeah, Notorious News. Heck
Sweet.
yeah, heck yeah.
Awesome, yeah, man. And
Putting
I
it on the
encourage
map.
all of you guys, throw some money at this guy. It's fucking awesome. Like, he puts in time. That's like I appreciate the hard work that you do, because I just throw this shit out there. I'm like, I'm gonna spend like an hour and I'm gonna talk to some dude. And I'm not gonna edit a goddamn thing, and then I'm gonna post it, and it's good.
Well,
Although
it's-
my wife did get me the new Stream Deck thing where I can press a bunch of buttons. I just gotta program the goddamn thing. But I'm really looking forward to having, like, I'm gonna press buttons someday and shit's gonna happen. On this
Interesting. It's the same thing though. It's the community building aspect of it that drives everybody. It seems like everybody creating content is trying to develop that little community that will, I don't know, get together and try to share a common idea. Like I was complaining in the cantina one time about how I had too many cayenne peppers. And Vero Noel was like, send me some cayenne peppers. And so I walked down to the mailbox, I sent him some cayenne peppers, and he sent me some chili paste.
Fuck
And I was
yeah,
like, man, that chili paste is good, dude. And Little Jerry Sizzler's like, hey, can I get some cayenne peppers? So I sent Little Jerry Sizzler some cayenne peppers. And he sent me some hot sauce, some like fermented hot sauce that he makes. And it's real good. And now I've got this food pen pal situation going on in the Notorious Cantina. Just totally random. I don't know how that happens. But I don't know. One day I was complaining about peppers, and now now I'm down the rabbit hole of.
It's yeah.
I'm sending everybody pepperoni tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place, man. I have to say.
Oh man, it's definitely the best system in New Eden. I know everybody says that I'm just like making that up or something, but get yourself a huggin', and you start cleaning out those belts, and you start stacking up those clone soldier tags, and nobody even knows you're there. You're gonna be like, you know what? This is the best system in New Eden.
Fuck, man, I love just sitting. So I've got a faction warfare alt now, just to do some faction warfare, and I was like, I'm just gonna use them to make money. I'm just gonna be an alpha, and you can make some pretty decent money as an alpha. But after a while, I was just like, man, I really want to PvP with this character.
Like, yeah,
I love just sitting in a Plex in faction warfare, being like, okay, somebody comes on, I might get in the news. Somebody doesn't come in, I might get some money. So either way, this fucking works for me, man. Like, death, kill, or make money. Like, either way, I might get on the news.
It's a funny thing. The leaderboard draws a really specific type of player, like Thanatos Marathon. Remember that guy? He was getting like 15 kills a day in Notoras, just because he can. Because he's Thanatos Marathon, and he wanted to be in the Notoras news. So he just camped Notoras for a couple of weeks and wrecked everybody that came in. You know, just so everybody knows, Thanatos Marathon, he's the man. Real nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's I
Quake
do love...
590, he and E-Tier, you know, they'll just stop through. Those guys have been killing me for 10 years.
Man, I love the concept of like going. I wish that walking in stations turned into something that, at the very least, where I could have gone to the Notorious Cantina and just chilled out with you guys with my character at a bar. And if I was drinking, it should have just given me some negatives. Just that, you know, now you have like minus 10 your speed. But I would be drinking all the time. I'd spend ISK to take negatives into the game if I could be getting drunk at the bar.
Some visual effects get all blurry. Yeah.
Well, honestly, that's what they should just do to boosters. Like, make you have to go to the bar to get boosters and make them last way longer.
That's
so
not
it's like
bad.
this thing you do.
That's not bad. Like, go to the IV bar. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, just crank them up from 20 minutes to like 6 hours, but you have to go to a place and do the drugs. Like,
the Bombers Bar started with a bunch of guys sitting around drinking beer on a gate. That's why it was the Bombers Bar.
There you go.
We're sitting on a gate waiting all night for somebody to hit this bubble. And we might just sit there and drink beer all night because nobody hits the bubble.
It's like ice fishing where a shark could jump out at any
moment. It's ice fishing with dynamite. You just, you know, they hit the box, you shoot it, you warp off, and you're like, well, I'm barely even on grid now, and you're dead.
Yep.
It's like a lot of people hate gate camping and eat when I talk to other PvPers, but like I honestly enjoy it.
I love it. It's like fucking fishing. It's fishing. It's this
people have clearly not been. They've clearly not been terrorizing the syndicate area the way we used to, because you know we see I'm watching the kill board and I'm seeing these sabers get 150 kills a week, you know, and a saber's a really good target for a couple of bombers because they always turn on their micro warp drive, and you know exactly what they're going for. And bonus, you might kill the other guy too. And so like the saber was always one of our favorite targets because it meets all the criteria, and when it turns on that micro warp drive, it's got a signature like a battleship.
Yep.
And yeah, 2 EM gone. And clearly people are not picking on the sabers like they need to be. People should be out there camping sabers just for fun, because those sabers are terrorists. They'll get 70 kills an hour if you let them. You can't let them do that. They'll get their kill board too high. You'll never catch up. You need to get out there, get on those interdictors, man. Don't let them push you around like that. That's what I'm saying.
No, someone's got to do it. Like
exactly.
Like it'll mess with the ecology. Like this is how you get rogue drones.
Maybe
this is how you get rogue drones.
Like people launch their drones and then they die because that saber's going to kill like 1,000 of them.
Mhm.
And does he pick up all those drones?
No,
Of course not.
nobody does.
Who
They
could?
just sit there in space all by themselves. They get pissed off and they're like, "Fuck you, pod pilots, coming for you! You left me."
This
They
is
could-
how you get rogue drones. You got to do something about.
Imagine
them
if we
sabers.
treated
Like, I
our
agree.
dogs that way. Like that's what we would have roaming packs of dogs that would be running around eating humans. That's our drones should be treated like our dogs. They're
Will they
very
eat
faithful.
people?
dark.
You just can't.
Will they
leave
eat
them.
people though? Or will dogs just do like they do in Moscow and just ride the train and stuff and go places all day? And you're like, what are all these dogs doing? Like, I've seen videos and heard from people from Moscow. They're like, there's dogs just conducting business there, like out in the
Dogs
open.
have a commute in Moscow?
Yeah, like they ride trains and stuff there. They know their way around the city and they're just allowed to. No one does anything about it, and they just do.
It's no wonder those dogs made it to space before we did.
Right?
Hey, dogs, man, are fucking crazy intelligent. Don't fuck with them. They could take. If you've ever seen Rick and Morty, you know that the dogs can take over the world if we're not careful.
Oh, I just don't have a problem with dogs doing dog business if they're just going to be polite about it. That's fine. It doesn't bother me a world where there's just more dogs conducting business. And it's like, I mean, you can teach them how to shake, so clearly they can probably handle themselves.
So speaking of dogs, you did a special segment on Notorious News about the Lodi station and shit that was going on with the dogs there. And I believe Relic Bloodlord, you were involved in this in some odd way as well, weren't you?
Is that true?
Yeah, I sold those slaver hounds.
Oh, okay. I've still got one. Yeah. Like when that dogs episode dropped, I mean, it wasn't 12 hours before somebody was selling slaver hounds locally. I was pretty surprised, to be honest. That wasn't what I expected to happen. But I checked the market. I was checking the market every day. And when I saw it, I was like, yeah, I gotta have one. And then
I put up, yeah.
I think Vinegar Douche came in and bought the rest of them. Just like all of them. They were like
someone bought all of them.
250,000 disc each or something. It
Yeah,
was
that was me.
nonsense money.
I put them at a really high price, and I'm just like, you know what? Lowsec just needs more exotic dancers and slaver hounds, and nobody's gonna bring them out here, so I'm gonna charge $250,000 a piece. But I don't think anybody actually minds that if they're just here. So I did.
Yeah.
And they got bought up.
For the convenience. Yeah.
Well,
There's a nasty rumor out there about fucking dog eaters, but that's not true, man. A lot of those guys got saved.
Well, and who wants
Maybe
to fly
some of them
around
got
in your ship alone? Like, you want some
Yeah, you
stuff.
want a buddy, you know. One thing I want to do is we got to get this set up in Notorious a little bit better, but I want a steady supply of hookers, drugs, not the drugs that like boosters, like just the shit that doesn't do anything for you, but I want that in my cargo hold with a hooker and a hound. And that's what you're gonna see in Notorious.
Man, there's
Navy
some
Comet flying around.
There's
with
some
hookers
weed in the game that I can't remember. It's from some system, and they have their own weed. And then in the description it says, breathing this substance has some effect on you, or it's just one of those trade goods. And I mean, I can't remember which one it is. It's killing me. I look through them every once in a while, and I just can't find it.
I'm gonna have to find that one. I would buy up a whole
I have
shitload
trade
and sell
goods
that.
in system, and I will change their price. I will drop, because I have a bunch of stuff like that. If you look, there's not real drop, not real crash, not real mind flood, quaff, handguns, alcohol.
Nice. For real. Yeah.
Like, I brought some stuff out here that I was like, this seems like stuff that people would want.
Mm-hmm.
So
but I think I'll drop it down to like 75.
So the thing that me and Relic here are working on is working with the cartels, the Nissawa cartel and the rest of the fun cartels that are out there. What I want to do is I want to just flood Notorious and just make the Lodi station just tons of shit in it. The whole point is that it's going to be drugs, guns, ammunition, ships. Lodi station needs to be fully packed with like a Jitta PvP market. You know, we're not gonna have all the shit that Jitta has, but we'll have a bunch of PvP shit that Jitta will have.
I've been trying to work on that just a little bit. So I've been selling manticores and garmers and succubuses. Trying to just like the kind of stuff that you're really gonna need in low sec. The kind of stuff you maybe don't want to go to Jita for.
Yeah, so what I want to do is I want to ship all of the fucking modules, and I got this Relic Bloodlord fuckwad over here who loves to make shit, so I want him to make a bunch of shit where we're gonna have T1, T2, probably not very much named, maybe some named by the people that donate named shit, blowing up people that have named shit on them. You know, but I want the market in the Lodi station just to be this thing where if you come there, it's like, oh, there's some antimatter. I can throw that into my ship. There's the sensor booster. There's the magnetic field stabilizer. There's the micro warp drive Tech 2 5 MN. You know, we're not gonna have everything. We're probably only gonna go up to, you know, frigates first. We'll service the frigates, which service a lot of the other higher class if it's not the gun or the micro warp drive.
Sure.
But you know, get those guys up and running, tons of frigates. And one thing I have to say, I love this about LowSec, is that a lot of people are like, oh, how do I get shit to LowSec? Fuck, I gotta get this raider, blah, blah, blah. I gotta, like, contact, you know, Black Frog or whatever. So what I found that I've been doing is just going to Nissawa, and I just put up a fucking buy order of, like, I was like, 100 Atrons at a good price. You know what happened? 100 Atrons arrived for me in Nissawa. Like,
oh yeah,
a week.
I feel like if I put up, because I don't want to haul anything. It's funny. One of the things that I didn't want to do anymore when I came back was jump around all night and look for fights. But now I'm jumping around delivering newspapers. But I didn't want to haul things anymore. I was spending so many hours hauling bombers around New Eden, or hauling stuff between Molten Heath and Black Rise, or Molten Heath and Old Man Star, that I just decided I'd pay too much, and they bring it to me. And I mean, I'm gonna spend that money anyway because I'm gonna have to pay somebody to haul it. Mm-hmm. So I might as well just try to get them to bring it to me locally as best I can. Buy
orders, man. It works.
I think it
works, man. Right. Like it's built into the whole mechanic. Nobody fucking uses them. Nobody knows what the fucking buy order is.
Well, clearly people fill them.
People fill them because all they have to do is press a button that says, hey, sell this fucking item, and you get money for it.
I think one of the shortcomings of the markets, one of the things they could absolutely improve about the UI, is that I want to walk into a station and say, what are people buying in this station? Show me a list of the buy orders in this station. Because if I'm coming back and forth between two places, having a reliable list of what I can sell would be super, super useful.
You can get like a concept of that, but yeah, it's not.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work through everything.
It's there, but it's not easily accessible. Right, yeah. It's not available. Or accessible.
But give me a button where I can.
It's only third party.
And even third party,
that's true.
It's not accessible exactly what I'm looking unless
for.
You actually have that.
I can't look up my own buy orders in
right. You can't
Notoras 5. You know.
So like the best you could do is pick a system and see what's on the
right.
So we are coming up. We are a little bit over an hour. I feel, I have to get you back on here. And we just need to continue talking about EVE Online the Notorious news. I don't want to go too. I was like, let's just keep on going. But then something in me is just like, okay, it is a podcast. Some people are like, 2 hours. What the fuck are these guys talking about for 2 hours? But it's been great. I love what the fuck we're talking about here. So I think we're gonna just kind of continue just a little bit. I just want to touch on a couple more questions for you real quick here. Okay. But man, it's been great talking to you. I definitely want to get you back on here and just continue to talk more about the Taurus news, the stuff that you've been doing with that. As well as just in general, the whole, EVE Online. God, this has been awesome. I just looked at the clock and I'm like, holy shit, like We're well over an hour right now.
Well, I'm very available. They got this pandemic on. And
yeah,
it's got everybody real available. Is what I noticed.
Now, I do the podcast. I try and do like a, here's a spot for the podcast type stuff. But I am, you're in our Golden Age channel. I try and play Eve all the time, or some other games. We play Stellaris, Dominions on Stellaris on Thursdays, Dominions on Friday. We do Eve Online on Wednesdays. We do Mage the Ascension actual plays on Mondays. This podcast is usually we're going to have Relic Bloodlore on tomorrow to do this is like a bonus episode of EVE Online that I convinced my other co-host that I have of being like, hey, we should do some EVE Online shit because EVE Online fucking rocks. And he's like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. But whatever, you own the podcast, do whatever the fuck you want. But it's been great having you on. One thing, though, that I just want to touch base with you on, though, is what are your current projects that you're kind of working on? Is there anything beyond Notorious News that you're trying to build, or, any shout-outs that you have to specific people? I know there's a lot of really badass PvPers that you've been following, stuff like that. What are you up to these days?
Well, I mean, in the game, I spend almost all my time working on the videos, honestly. Like, I don't go out and get in very many fights because I just spend a lot of hours working on the videos. I guess what it's a weird thing to say. In real life, what I like to do is work on collaboration for art projects. And I'd like to touch on that in this virtual video editing situation. So I really would like to find someone who has an idea but doesn't have video editing ability or something. Maybe someone who has voice acting ideas to work with. It would be nice to have to bring someone else's ideas to a small video concept. And I know I'm stumbling all over myself because I don't exactly know what I'm trying to say. But it would be nice to work with someone who wants to write something else about the EVE Online universe, if that makes any sense. Absolutely.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And actually, I was talking with some other people just recently about concepts of voice acting and creating some more interesting kind of concepts of Machina with EVE Online. Because I've been working with Samson, Strength and Samson, who streams, and then there's Strength and Gaming is their podcast that they do. And he's been on EVE Online. I got him into Notorious. I got him into the Notorious. That's Gwen something. You'll see her.
Starts with a G.
Yeah. She is not on right now, but Gwen, you'll see her around quite a bit. But yeah, he's into streaming. He does streaming with me now every Wednesday. Strength and Samson. We've been going out and doing a lot of stuff with that, and he's been talking about wanting to do some voice Machina, voice acting, kind of like using EVE Online to do a lot of the like spaceship shots and stuff like that, similar to like and I don't have anywhere near the concept of how to even do this, but I would love to do more like Clear Skies type shit. Like, oh my god.
The composition for good. Something like that is tricky. You have to have an idea where you're going to get that video. You know what I mean?
I'll be the voice though. Right. Now we will have to take about 4 or 5 takes because I am dyslexic and I'm an idiot and I speak English on literally a 5th grade level.
I've never done anything in 1 take.
I have no idea how I have my own live podcast that I just am. I guess I talk well enough. I don't know. People say and I listen to myself and I'm like, oh, I don't hate, like everybody's like, I fucking hate my voice, and I'm like, I don't hate my voice. I don't know why. I guess I should, but
there's power in that though.
I'm perfectly fine sitting back and listening to myself be an idiot, and I'm just like, that guy's an idiot. It's great that I represent the Midwest quite well. Maybe I shouldn't say that to the poor Midwesterners out there.
Like there's a concept that I was trying to get Mr. Vinegar Douche to do, where he's just sitting in a lazy boy going over the kills of his patrolmen at the end of the week, just gassing them up, telling everybody how awesome his crew is, and then I could just put together beautiful images, put the kill mail on top, and I'd have that Vinegar Douche voice telling a story. Like that
beautiful.
Seems like a Wormhole Police concept that I could really put together for him.
Beautiful.
I just got to get him on board, and I think he'd be awesome at talking about his own crew. He like that just fits him to a T.
So just to give you some tips on this, so I've been getting into this stuff a little bit more on this, like trying to collaborate with other people, schedule at a time, like I did with you. Just tell them, hey, are you available this time? I want to do this, and it's
That's
unbelievable.
Just lay out a more fleshed out idea.
Yeah, even if it's not even really when I got a hold of you, I was just like, hey, I own a fucking podcast, you should come on. And you were like, I have no idea what the fuck, but we're like an hour and a half already into this, and I'm like, I could talk to you for another like 5 hours. I am 100% confident that we would get cool ass material for the next 5 hours of talking. But I also am like one of those people that like to cut it off a little bit because I know it's so good that we got right now.
Well, I really appreciate you having me on, of course, man. And I appreciate you moving to Notoras lock stock. That's fantastic.
Yep, we're here, man. We're
the culture.
We're gonna be here. We're gonna have some fun. I want to work with you on tons of other shit. Anything that you got ideas for, I've got tons of ideas. I would love to have you on my Twitch stream whenever you want to come on. If you see us on EVE Online, voice channel or anything like that, definitely pop in. Especially if I'm by myself, just pop on in and be like, hey, fuck what? You should do this or something. Whatever you want to say, whatever you want to do. I don't know. I have to say I really like a lot of the community that I've met doing these interviews, meeting up with people. People are fucking awesome. Humans. I love fucking humans.
Yeah, for sure. If you focus on the positive things, you find a lot of positive things.
Emma, thank you so much for the subscription. Holy shit, thank you so much.
Hey,
that's fucking awesome as hell. So any real quick though, any wrap up of any shout outs that you want to give to any EVE Online players maybe that you've been chasing around, following their kills out every day, being like this fucker rocks. Any shout outs? I
mean, Quake 590 is a legend. It's obvious. He's been killing me with that same Thrasher for coming up on 10 years. And when one guy has been killing you with the same Thrasher for 10 years, you got to take your hat off to him and say, you know what, buddy? That Thrasher is just about as good as it's going to get. And I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to just go one-on-one. When I had off-grid links, I could make it happen maybe. Without the off-grid links though, Quake's got me. He's got me. It's over. There's nothing I can do to get under that Thrasher. So, well played, Quake. Well played.
Fucking love the Thrasher. Here's the Thrashers everywhere. Thank you so much, Mr. Monopoly, for being on the show here. And before we go, I just want to give us some shout outs to our fellow podcasters and Twitch streamers that are out there. Definitely check out Notorious News. Fucking awesome. YouTube,
check it out.
Notorious News. N-O-T... N-O-T-O-R-A-S. N as in Nancy, O as in Omega, T as in Tom, O as in Omega, R as in Richard, A as in Alpha, S as in Samson. Notorious News fucking rocks. Check it out on YouTube. Really love a lot. It's short, it's quick. You're like literally, you've got 6 minutes. Everybody's got 6 minutes to blow. And sometimes it's 3 minutes. It's fucking beautiful. Sometimes you get to check out some of the cool ass Throwback Wednesdays, by the way. Really fucking cool idea. Love checking out checking out the
for the old heads.
Yeah, absolutely. Checking out those the tournaments of back in the day. Oh, so beautiful.
Oh man, they're in low definition. Ooh, classic.
Perfect. Classics. Absolutely. Also check out JoeBane. Does a lot of really good JoeBane, JoeBane on Twitch TV. Twitch,
Yeah, he's a good guy.
fucking awesome guy. Had him on here. Just great PvPer. Check out his kill board. You want to find out how to fly a spaceship? Go to his kill board. You'll see some really good fits. RDB88, Adri. God damn it. I cannot fucking say her name. Saved my life because I'm an idiot. Just the way that it is. Welcome to live TV, people. So Adri B, or Audrey B, I don't know how to fucking pronounce it. ADRIBEE88 on Twitch TV. Does a lot of really cool shit. Getting into some PvP nowadays. Definitely check her out. Also, just some other podcasts that are out there: Twin Cities by Night, Midnight Express, Utility Muffin Labs, World of Dark Ages podcast, and of course Mage the podcast. Check those guys out for all of your kind of tabletop role playing. Especially a lot of that is tied to the World of Darkness, but just a lot of those also have just general tabletop RPG type shit. Definitely check out Strength in Gaming. Really cool podcast for tabletop RPGs, and I'm going to try and convince them, and I think all of our EVE Online people should send them information and be like, you should do an episode on EVE Online, because they say that he can't talk about EVE Online on that podcast, but I think we should, as people, should just push it. That's the way that it needs to be. So yeah, definitely check out all those. And if you like what we're doing here, give us a like, a follow, subscribe, whatever the fuck, give us a thumbs down if you hate what the fuck we're doing. And if you think that we need to change something up, we need to, I'm all open to criticism. Even the, you fucking suck, because fuck it. At least you thought about me for a second. I can feel good about that. But check us out on Twitch channel, YouTube, Instagram, which is just a bunch of pictures of my cats, by the way, which you can see Layla right there. It's Layla, Leia, Origama, Princess. She owns this place. Although Captain Janeway keeps her in check quite a bit around here somewhere. We are also on Twitter. We also do Mage the Ascension actual plays on Monday nights, Central Time at 7 p.m. Check us out on Twitch. We put that up on our podcast now. We do all this other shit. We're talking to people. We're going to be talking to Relic Bloodlord tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
tomorrow. We're going to find all about who the fuck this guy is, because I didn't introduce him at all, but he fucking rocks. So we're going to learn a whole shitload about him.
I guess I'm mysterious.
You're the mysterious co-host who's going to be a guest. You're like the one for the one episode we have this special, and that's because Notorious News rocks so much. Relic Bloodlord was the one who introduced me to this. He was like, check out this fucking news network. This is awesome. We're gonna move to Notorious. We're gonna fucking rock it out there. And I was like, hell fucking yes. So.
Well, thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. And you guys all have a great one. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up a video of, and I'm not going to have the video played, but I'm going to do the audio of a Notorious News. Do you have an episode that you think would be like your pinnacle episode?
Honestly, the dogs thing is probably the swan song of the whole series. But it's not like, it's kind of rough. There are some rough parts.
Let's see here. So I think that starts with episode 152. 152 is that?
152 is today's episode. Heck yeah.
Oh no. Okay, so 152 is today's. Where is playlists? There's the saga of the Ladi Pet Shop Dogs. So what we're going to do, it's a little 5-minute episode here. I'm going to just put it at the very end here, and allow for you all to enjoy this little spectacle here. I encourage my guests to just listen to it while our fans are listening to it. Well, we're going to go to just a little jump over to it here. Thank you so much. I'm gonna let you guys anything else that you want to say. Thank you so much though. Thank you, Relic, for coming on, hanging out with us.
Thank you.
Hopefully you
it's been a blast.
You enjoyed it. And thank you so much, Mr. Monopoly, for being on as well. I want you back on hopefully soon.
Hey, thanks, Relic. Thanks, Frozen. News from the capital of Black Rise. Notoras, the nicest system in New Eden. In sports news, we see local hero Up Till Dawn catch an Atron kill with a Tristan. That Tristan is a great ship. It is versatile, and a Capsuleer can never be sure how it will be fit. In the Notoras metro area, we see Astero cannibalism over in Pinecasto. Colexa exacting frontier justice on this smegma spreader right here. Colexa grabbing 11 points for the kill. Also in Pinecasto, we see a Capsuleer fall to the Mordu's Legion battleship. When contacted for comment, Maria Mordu, CEO of Mordu's Legion, said, and I quote, "Fuck peace. I let them Capsuleers know it's on for life. So let Mordu's Legion ride tonight. Amar Empire murdered on wax and killed. Fuck with me and get your pod peeled." End quote. In Kadama, we see Ha Space go in hard. 47 points in 2 minutes with these 4 kills. Rifter, Tormentor, Executioner. Praise RN Jesus, it was a bloodbath. Our pound for pound kill in the Okakwala region. In anomaly news, we have some reversals in anomaly density in the Okakwala constellation. Small gneiss deposits can be found in Notoras and Iwasoda. Large Hedbergite, Hemorphite, and Jaspit anomalies in Rakapas and Iwasoda. Hiri has 2 good anomalies, but also Triglavians. You would have to be a stone-cold psycho to go mining in Trig space. Do you have items in your hangar that aren't quite right for the market or the contract system? Call the Notoras Sell and Swap Shop line Monday through Sunday. Leave a description of your item to us and we will share it in the Notoras news to help you find the right fit for your needs. Buy, sell, swap, and trade at 317-721-7129. And that is the news from the shining star of Black Rise, Notoras. Treat yourself right. Swing by Notoras, pick up a Garmer and some Quaif Zero, and really let them know that you are out there. So I was following up to the aggressive pubic lice tip that we received from Vinegar Duche. I took a walk through the Lai-Dai red light district, and I came up empty on the crabs, but I did notice a troubling new storefront. There's a new shop in Lai-Dai selling lifelike, dog-shaped sex toys. Now they go on and on about how these dog-shaped sex toys are for dogs. And here's the thing, I just don't believe that these dog-shaped pocket pussies are for dogs. So I went to the website. The website, I shit you not, is called offloaddogsboner.com. But it doesn't matter how many reasons they provide to me that my dog needs a dog-shaped sex toy. I will believe, until it is proven otherwise, that these dog-shaped sex toys are being sold to deranged Capsuleers who just are not able to be honest with themselves about how they want to fuck a dog. And my worry is that once these degenerates fuck a dog-shaped sex toy, then what? We all know what that's going to lead to. I think anyone who makes a purchase in that store should be put on a watch list like a kid who kills cats. I mean, this is future serial dog rapist shit going on here. And I'm not trying to pass any judgment on kinks or fetishes. And of course, Lie Die is the place to pursue such endeavors. But I'm still going to bring it up at the next System Council meeting. And if I find anybody fucking my dog, I'll cut a motherfucker. You know what I mean? I'll cut a motherfucker where they can't scream, and I'll leave them in the street, if that's the way it has to be. News from the capital of Black Rise. Notoras, the dankest system in New Eden. In market news, slaver hounds have been made available at the Lie Die station. Slaver hounds are known across New Eden for being very loving pets. Loving is almost an understatement. Call the Notoras Sell and Swap Shop to make your deals without the draconian constraints of the fee-based Concord systems. Buy, sell, swap, and trade at 317-721-7129.
Hey, this is Lakshata Chawla. I'm calling in to try and sell a slightly used Athenor. It's taken a few shots from various Revelations and Titans, but I swear it's perfectly fine. Contact Lakshata Chawla if you want to buy it.
Lakshata Chawla is a highly reliable capsuleer and a pillar of the Notoras community. In anomaly news, our capital and Kadama are both experiencing a small gneiss deposit. Pinacasto has an average Hedbergite, Hemorphite, and Jaspit deposit. After an emergency meeting of the Notoras System Council, I was asked to draft a letter to the Wormhole Police. It was made clear during the meeting that the Chief of Police in Wormhole Space had gone missing. Evidence was provided by several parties, and it was decided to probe the situation with the Notoras Police and our dicks. I drafted the letter personally. The investigation was launched, and the email was sent immediately. Missing persons report to Vinegar Duché. I'd like to report that one Chief Vinegar Duché has been missing in action for the last several days. And I do mean several days. I have it on good authority that Chief Duché has not filled out a crime report in at least 5 days. The Notoras Police and the Dicks of Notoras are each conducting an independent investigation to find out if there has been any wrongdoing, misconduct, or malfeasance. If the person reading this has assumed the persona of, or taken mind control of, one Chief Vinegar Duché, let me warn you that if the Notoras Police find you before anyone else does, you will wish that King fucking Kong had torn you a new asshole. Warmest regards, Mr. Monopoly.
Frank, it's Vinny. Frank, I've got a distressing story, Frank. I was in Notoras, and I noticed that you got a new pet store there, Frank. So I stopped in, and I was looking at the animals, and I was thinking to myself, fuck, it gets pretty goddamn lonely in space. I can't get Jesse Fox to pay any attention to me. So I said, fuck it, I'm going to get myself a pet. And I walk into this pet stop, and they're not like real dogs. Well, fuck. Maybe real dog is an apt description for these things after all was said and done, but I'm getting ahead of myself, Frank. Frank, I go into this pet store, and it seems to be like robot pets. And I said, what can be better? It's not going to shit all over the floor. This is fucking perfect. So there was some hemming and hawing, and I tell you, they acted super sketchy. I should have known right up front. Should have known. So finally, they're trying to show me all these dogs that they've got some sort of mange issue on the backside there. I said, no, I want myself a nice German Shepherd or maybe an Amar Slaver Hound. And he brings me into this back room like it was some kind of shady deal, and he introduces me to this Amar Slaver Hound. And the thing looked really mean, but it had a pretty good temperament. I patted him on the head, and he growled at me, and I said, yeah, we're going to be good friends. So I paid the man an exorbitant amount of money. He kept giving me strange fucking looks, too. And I get this fucking dog home, get him home, and I look on his collar. He's got this little gold round tag on it, and it's got his fucking name on it. You know what the fucking thing's name is? King fucking Kong is the name of this goddamn Amar Slaver Hound. And we hit it off pretty good. We were sitting in the comfy chair, Amar Slaver Hound by my side, watching episodes of the Canadians Cops. It's like American Cops, except they're really nice, and they'll like drive you home if you're fucked up, instead of taking you to the jail. And we're sitting there watching that thing, and I'm dozing off. And the next thing I fucking know, I've got King fucking Kong's cock in my goddamn face, and the dog's trying to fucking rape me. I had to put 18 fucking bullets in this thing to save my ass from this fucking thing. Now, Frank, you need to get your people down to this goddamn pet store. It's not a pet store, Frank. It's some kind of shady fucking real dog store.
In sports news around the Oka Koala constellation, we see lots of good fights, lots of good points totals. Saint Lucifer out in a Dramiel, and a Kikimora goes down for 14 points. It is gorgeous. Two sexy ships doing battle. Ice Font burns down a Vexor Navy issue with a Fed Navy Common, punching up 2 weight classes and coming out on top. 25 points is a hefty points total. Well done, Capsuleer. You are a legend. Johnny Stark throws down 27 points for this Moa kill. Johnny was in a Garmer, the official frigate of Notoras, the best system in New Eden. The Garmer by Mordu's Legion. Do you want to go fast, like really fast, and point the actual fuck out of people? Get yourself a Garmer. Ice Font, back on the hunt, out in an Ishkur this time. He jumps in on another Ishkur and a Sunesis simultaneously. His Warrior 2s melt them both. 28 points for the double kill. Pound for pound. And that is the news from Notoras, where the star is bright and the appetites are dark.